Uh, wait. Can anybody see my face?
Not yet, man. Good morning, everyone. We are live on today's episode of Real Mom, Real Talk, third edition. By the way, this will be our penultimate edition for the Summit Talk Show. And we're so happy to have you, and we're glad you're here to join us today. And I think our guest is still to join. Let's see. Okay. All right. While we're waiting for the host, me, how has it been for you? How you feeling for our summit that is coming up in just 10 days?
I know. I am super, super excited. Pumped, busy, but pumped.
I know. We've been all over the
Yes.
place, and we're so excited that we'll get to see Coach no longer on the television, no longer on the screens. We'll get to see her live. So we are really very
Yes.
excited, and we are very we're looking forward to this our maiden summit. I mean, it's gonna be something real different.
Yes,
While
that's
we're
true.
waiting for guests to join us, how has it been for you in the last two in the last week? Because it's been like we've been having back to back, having to meet at odd times and all those kind of stuff. How has it been with you? And having the skills that we've been learning so far and being able to manage these extra responsibilities with your family, because it's been something here for me.
It's so interesting that you should bring that up. But should we go ahead and introduce ourselves first? Because we might have people on here who've never met us before, who haven't joined this show, the past 2 weeks that we've had it. Two, three?
Okay.
This is our third one?
Yeah. All right. You're correct. Thank
So,
you for that.
yes.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. This is Real Mom, Real Story for the pre-summit party of USA Summit. Hooray! And we
Yay!
are here live
Hooray!
with you to share our stories, to share our experiences being moms in the diaspora, and how it's been with us in the last years, and how TIP has made a difference in our lives. So I'll go with introducing myself. I am Noelum Aniebo. Feel free to call me Noni. And here with me are our fellow moms from the US yard. And today we're joined by our special guest. And my co host today will be Mrs. Bumi.
Hi,
Introduce yourself.
everyone. Hello, everyone. And yes, thank you for being here with us again this week. We've been here, this is our third week. We're excited, super excited. My name is Bumi Ogumbayo. If you haven't, if you weren't here the last 2 weeks, reintroducing myself, I've been a Yada for 3 years. This is my third year, and I am a mother of three active, boisterous, beautiful children in the diaspora here. So, and Noyan was asking a great question there about how we've all been managing. We'll get into it. We will get into it. So, Noyan, yes, I will give you the honor of introducing our guest because I know, you're pumped.
All right, we're gonna feature our very own sunshine. We call her Ancient Iada because she's earned the title as one, having been in the yard for the last 5 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. And she's been one of our core anchor persons in the yard in the US, giving us so much insights, and I've kind of known her personally, and she's been one go-to person you would love to meet on the summit. So she's here to share her stories with us, and I'm so super excited to introduce her as Sunshine. So welcome, ma'am, and please introduce yourself to the global stage, Sunshine.
Oh my God, I feel honored. Thank you, everyone. I know I generally go by the name Sunshine, but my name is Adekweju. My
Okay.
Adekweju Olowokere. Yes, I've been in the yard for 5 years. It's been a lot, I know. And I don't know if I earned the title of most senior yada. Don't mind Noni. I'm happy to be here today.
All right, thank you so much. We are honored to have you. It's been a real chase having to pin her here, but we are very glad you've given us the time and the pleasure to host you, and we're very glad. So, without wasting much of our time again, we want to jump right into one of the very things that affects most of us, time. And we at the US, we've chosen that we should actually share more of how are we able to balance this singular, invaluable part of our lifetime, being able to juggle. It will be very instructive for our listeners to know that our guest today is a PhD student here in the US, has children, and has been able to raise them in such a way that you want to know how she did it. Personally, I've met the son in the last week at Kochebuka's camp, and you could see the difference. I mean, like when you see others who are really doing the work, you want to know what they're doing. So stay tuned today and let's dive into what has helped us to get to where we are with our children, especially with our guests here today. So, ma'am, let's ask one very important question that I'm sure a lot of people have at the back of their mind. What exactly was it like for you before you joined TIP? And what helped you to take this decision of, coming to the abroad and being able to succeed, or being able to, take that decision without such a system that you probably might have right now?
Okay, I would say one word. Before TIP, I was synonymous to the word yelling. Oh God. I would yell. I would like, can you children not get in line? Come on. And I used to have a foster daughter also who came to me as a teenager, coming from a structureless life. Like I would even pretend, I would deceive myself that I had some kind of structure. But where she was coming from was, I don't know what to describe it with. Like you could do anything. You can go out at any time, come out at any time, wake up whenever. And so I have two young ones, and two young ones who I'm trying to mold, and a teenager who is wild in quotes. So yeah, my middle name was Yelling before TIP.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know anyone who cannot relate to this because those of us that know where we came from and know where we're coming, from, we can connect. We can definitely relate. And it's by not only grace, but obviously the knowledge that we are gaining that is helping us to get better in this area. And it's as I said, Noya had asked just earlier that those of us that are busy planning, with the events, and of course there's life happening around us. You have your family, kids are out of school on summer break, and all these things are coming at you. And we all know how it is. People are working 9 to 5, some people are running business, this and that, and the pressure is real. So I'm glad that we are in a space like this where we have learned um, intelligence, and there's so many levels of intelligence, that's helping us. So can you give us, for instance, an example of something that, triggered for you that led you to coming to TIP? So an experience or an encounter or something that was like, oh gosh, I need help. Or was it just, I found this place and I'm like, oh, I don't really need this. How did it happen for you?
Okay, so for me, it started with me reading. My pastime used to be to read. Used to. I would just come on, stop laughing at me. The world could be falling apart literally, and I could hold a book and I'm completely deaf to the world. So I came about a book, a parenting book online. Okay, so the major thing is my two children are terrible picky eaters. As in the word, like when it comes to picky eating, there was nothing I didn't try. Like for my son, when he was just growing up, I just weaned him, and then we're trying to introduce baby formula and all of those things. It was when on the sixth can, on the sixth jar of formula, I told my husband, I was like, okay, something needs to stop. Like we need to do something needs to change. We've tried different things, local, and like I would go to ShopRite. I kept on thinking, oh, he didn't like this. Okay, we could pick this. Oh, he doesn't like this. So we tried our best, and he was not taking nothing. He didn't want to eat. And it continued that way. We keep trying to introduce this. He would eat little, he would not eat. The girl also, same thing. And then I was reading one book. The book, I just stumbled across the book by chance in my way of just looking for books to read. And then I read in the book that one of the reasons out of a million things they gave, the one that stood out for me was that one of the ways you can get a picky eater to eat is you introducing them to the art of cooking. Like even at age 3, tell them to put salt or put water, just hold their hands and then do whatever. And then after the cooking session, be like, oh, your food is so yummy, you don't want to taste it, something like that. And I was like, wait, I would think I'm very smart when it comes to parenting. This is on another level. That little line, I was like, okay, let me try. I did try. It worked for my son. Of course, it didn't work for my daughter, but it did work for my son. And then I was like, okay, so there are actually things that you don't, even if in your wealth of, in quotes, experience, your wealth of knowledge, you think you know that you don't know, And then I started looking for more parenting books. I started looking for a lot of more parenting books and all of those things. And it was one of those periods that I was a little less busy, in quotes. So I was on Facebook, and then I saw Coach Wendy's post about being a parenting coach. And then I looked at the amount, the price. I was like, okay, I have two different sexes, a boy, a girl. I have a teenager that's we are at loggerheads almost every day, and this woman is offering a parenting class. Although I've read a lot of books, but let me hear what she wants to say. Because my world is apart. The teenager is far away from the two little ones. The two little ones are two different sexes with very, very different personalities. And that was it. So I tried, and that's it. I've been hooked since then.
I love it.
Amazing. When you have that aha moment, and you want to like, is this possible? And having that, that experience, it's something that anyone that actually wants to have that mindset shift would want to say, okay, let me try this out and see. I always say, one thing that will happen is that you found one thing that didn't work if you say you want to try something out. So one of the ways you would know if something is working or it's not working is for you to try it out, right? And I believe that is what most of us tried to do, and we got what we got here. And one of the things that got me from what you said, especially Per Yali, I know that most of us as African moms, our a lot is a lot in us, and our trauma is also traumatizing us. And you see,
Mhm.
one of the things, one of the fallouts, it's yelling. I recall one of the first host, the first guest we had. She was always that calm personality up until she got married and had children. So
Oh
there's
my God.
something that happens to us when that, is as if that parenting moves us in another space where those trauma effects would now actually start showing itself in this
Yep.
name of yelling, because this is what we were brought up with, right? So
Mhm.
I was just wondering, in terms of that yelling, how has this turning point you discovered, like, grappling on the methodology you saw on TIP, how did this really actually reflect in your parenting in terms of those challenges that you had as an African mom?
Okay, so the post, Coach Wendy's post that I saw, she titled the post, "You Can Parent with Calm." That
Okay.
was the title of the post. And what actually drew me to it was the comments. You know how Africans can be. What are you saying? Spare the rod spoils the child. The children are going to be spoiled. Um, we were beaten to the inch of our lives. We didn't die. All of those things. So the first thing that drew me to it was, I looked at the heading, "You Can Parent with Calm." I went into the content. I saw all of the comments, and then I was like, okay, let me even see what she even was talking about, to for people to react this negatively. And then I went to it, and then she was talking about how she has twins, and then she has twins and a foster daughter also, so it kind of looked like my life, kind of, although mine are not twins, but they are 1 year apart. And I also have
Mhm.
a foster daughter that we scream a lot. So, and then I got into the TIP through then, and then she the first time she had no yelling challenge. Oh my God! I followed. This was a 5-day program. I followed religiously, back to back. Then I was able to don my humility agbada, to tell my daughter and this my son, because he understood a little bit better than the younger one. So I told the foster daughter and my son to hold me accountable. Like,
Mm.
the my foster daughter had an issue, because she could not face me really to tell me, okay, mommy, you are yelling. But my son was so young, so innocent. I told him, if you think I'm yelling, you tell me, Mom, do you want to sit down? Mom, I think you're screaming. Mom, you're yelling. Mom, that's not that's a bad word. So he was more of an accountability partner than my foster daughter, because that was one of the things the coach taught in, I think, day 3 of the no yelling challenge. Like, you could actually tell people around you, to calm you. My husband had already lost hope. He had lost hope in me. He would look at me and be like, "You are in one of those moods, right? Oh, it's okay." And he would just back away, like, she's in one of those moods. But my son was, because he was young, he didn't have that kind of fear. So he will look
Mhm.
me in the eyes and be like, "Mommy, you're shouting." And then I'll be like, and stop. One other thing is that coach said, you can, once you catch yourself, you don't have to finish that sentence. Even if you are already saying, "How can you be so stupid?" Even before you finish the word stupid and you catch yourself, just so immediately, anytime he would tell me, "Mom, you're screaming," whatever I was saying, I would just, stop it there. And I'd be like, and but because I did not want to accept, and I'll still look at them and say, "You're the reason I'm screaming, yeah, right?" Of course, I knew that was wrong. I just didn't want to. The African mother in me just did not want to accept. I would stop, but I'll be like, "But why do you make me scream so much?" But yeah, that was my tactics. I let them be my accountability partner, and then I always find a way to stop. Once they stop me, I would stop. That's it. I just promised myself I would stop, and I was stopping.
That is so awesome. Honestly, as I'm laughing again, it's not honestly, it's not when I laugh at anything that I hear, it's not even with judgment, it's from a place of relatability. Like we get it. We get it, and it's just so amazing. And one of the things that I heard you say, which I really loved from different points. First and foremost, from the last question, you pointed out that I have 3 children that I am raising, and they are very different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have different ages, different sexes. I obviously have to approach this differently with different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that you mentioned that I think is so big that I also learned coming into TIP is having people hold you accountable. And the biggest thing, helping allowing and giving your children the permission to hold you accountable. That was such a big transformation for me. And of course, we know that the children that we're raising in this generation, because we're a bit more, they're a bit more courageous, so to say. I will use the word to approach us.
Audacious.
They will not hesitate
at all
to call you out. But rather than see it as defiance, and of course teaching them to do it with respect, taking it as a place of caution. So my next question, and you've already started answering it, was, that based on the things that you started to learn, how were you able to, then start to manage your emotions? We've talked about you talked about the accountability through your children and maybe through other people that surround you, but going into the aspect of time now, because we've talked a little bit about how time is an issue for us. From the things that you've learned, how have you, because you're obviously you have a lot on your plate, how have you been able to manage your time, or what are the things you've learned that have helped you to manage your time?
Okay, so I'll answer it in 2 parts.
Yes.
One, with when I was in Nigeria, which was a little flexible in terms of with my foster daughter. Okay, I use the word foster daughter because I had to change my mindset, my perspective to her being a foster daughter. She actually came to me as a housemaid. So I had to, rewire my brain to say no, So why I brought this up is as the fact that the art of delegation. The art of delegation. It's really helped my parenting journey. In fact, when people will look at my children, even when they were way younger than when Nani met my son, even when they were like 4, 5, people will look at them and say, to the glory of God, and say, what are you doing differently? Why, how is she able to do this? How is he able to do that? I would tell them, before you listen to me, I would say one thing. I don't do everything every other mother out there are doing because I have help. I delegate so I take the part of parenting all to myself. Between me and my husband, we are the parents. And then my foster daughter had, she could do any other thing. Like, I would not wake up to think of some other things like other mothers would think of, like, having to cook, having to clean car, and all of those things. So number one, if you are able to delegate, even if it's your sister, even if it's your trusted neighbor, trusted adult, whatever you can delegate to be present for those children, please do. That's why I brought that up. Now, when I got here, and obviously I'm even trying to survive without How do I even think of having, a help here? So I just brought the idea because back in Nigeria, I was able to, with all of the teachings in the TIP, I was able to, have a structure,
Yeah.
have a routine. We would sleep, and one thing is the your today actually begins from yesterday night. That's what,
Mm.
even as adults, even in the business world, in corporate world, people don't understand. My today, Wednesday, actually started from Tuesday
Yes.
last night. When did I
Yeah.
sleep? Did I sleep on sugar? So I actually, I start my day from the night before. I would plan out, okay, so the kids were able to, I was able to wake them. My children had been waking up 5:30 a.m. for, I cannot remember since when, since Nigeria. They're 11 and 10 now. They've all 5:30 a.m. has always been their waking up period. And then because they would, part of what they would do in the morning was they would read, they would pray, and they would do their chores in the morning. So my timing, the structure, me, and then you have to write it down. See, what you don't write down, you don't have. What you don't write down, you don't have. I would make, I would put it on their walls. I still have all of those pictures for them, for them to grow up into. All of their wardrobes had their routine, their checklist, what they're supposed to do at this point in time, what I'm supposed to do at a certain point in time. So honestly, it was for me having a written down structure that is not written in stone anyway. Sometimes we have to
Mm-hmm.
switch it around and see this is not working.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
working, this is not working, and then
Yep.
we switch it around, and that was it for us.
That's so excellent.
Amazing, amazing. I told you guys, you will get your mind blown up. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not trying to blow up anything, but I met Sunshine in the community. Thank God for the US yard and a couple of great minds that I've interfaced with. Thank God for Coach Wendy and that invaluable community. And one of the things that actually spurred me about my interacting with her, that really brought us together, was her being able to follow through with what it is that she does, having that mindset and getting it done. Because one of the things that I had as a gap with me was starting and being consistent with it. So it was just one good morning, that I called her up, and she was like, "Oh, give me a sec, she will call me back, she's just in the gym." That was around to 6 or thereabout. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my God. I remembered I had a gym goal. I remembered I had a physical exercise goal. I mean, honestly, and that was it for me. And when by the time you interact with her, she has a lot going on. But the real life story here was that I met Sunshine Sonny last week in Texas, where we had the camp. Amongst the boys, he came in later. He flew in alone at 11. He came in later than others because of the flight schedule and all that. He got picked. That normal agitation that you would have seen in a child, or not being able. He blended in. In fact, he was leading his cohort. He was different. He could see it, and of course, I knew some behind the scenes stuff. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to bring this to light, because we're not actually here. We're not saying things that are not real. We are saying things that have produced results. So
Yes.
I can tell you for a fact that when I saw
Oba.
Oba, we call him Oba. When I saw Oba last week, I'm like, Oba, eventually we met life, and we're
And
like
then you
all
gave
over
him
each
a hug.
other. I hope he told you I didn't over hug him.
Oh.
So I met over, and that mother instinct. I was just watching, and very, very calm, cool, and collected. And I'm so grateful, for what you have, So I want to be able to I know you've answered that in part, but I want to also, we've been talking about, more of your transformation from yelling to yourself, being calmer, and, holding your, making your kids, accountable to you. And
Mhm.
I'm sure some of this transformation would have also happened to your son, for us to have him, flying in alone, how many hours flight, changing destination. It might interest you that he missed his flight without his
Oh,
mother, and that wasn't in the plan. So you
oh
can
no, that was
imagine being in that scene and still being able to still, come home. So I'm sure it wasn't from cradle that happened. There has been a time when it wasn't like that.
Mhm.
So we've talked about your transformation. How has this transformation, because parenting is all about us, right? And we know, once that transformation happens, literally you see that, translating with your kids. So I want to be able to appreciate where Oba and the sister are coming from and to where they are now. What was it like? And at what point did you notice this transformation?
I might not be able to say when I noticed the transformation, but I do know that what I've always put in my mind, I'm not sure if I heard it from Coach Wendy. I kind of totally believe I heard it from her, but I don't want to be quote. Is that I heard it from her or one of the other books I read, but I think I heard it. I didn't read it. I think I heard somebody say it, maybe online or maybe with her. Is okay. It's actually Coach Wendy because I remember the words right now. So the idea is whatever you want your child to learn at, let's say, age 5, you start at age 3. Whatever you want them to learn at age 7, to master, sorry, whatever you want them to master at age 7, you start at age 5, because 5 to 6 will be your teaching period. 6 to 7 would be I don't want to use the word launching, like a testing period. So what I've always done is, for example, like this traveling thing, I actually learned that from Coach Wendy, to be honest. Like the social skill, the travel skills. Like I would I would sit them down like we're having a short lecture, very short, not something cumbersome that is to stress the kids' brain out. I explain the concept of what we want to do for the next 3 months or 6 months or 1 week, depending on the goal, when you're on that, what that thing is. And then I'll be like, so, and this is how we are going to do it. So, for whatever it is we decide. And one other thing is, I don't put too many things on their plate at the same time. I have a list. Of course, I'm an African mother. I have a list of what I want them to be, who I want them to be like, because one of the first things Coach Wendy would tell you to do when you just get into the yard is, I don't know if she still does that for level 1 yard or not, but I remember that in our time, because I took level 1 3 times. Yes, I took level 1 3 times. So I remember what she used. What she used to say is, what do you want your child to look like in 10 years? Now, picture a 26-year-old child of yours. Where do you expect your 26-year-old child to be? So yeah, because of that, I have a whole long list of what I want them to do, what I want them to achieve, but still, I don't put all of those things together in the same time. So whatever I'm going to, I choose to do, but for age 4, I know I'm starting at age 2, and then I start incorporating it little by little. So, for example, the travel thing, like we would book the tickets together, even when it was not convenient. I took a train to Maryland. That was a 10-hour trip. I had a meeting with my advisor on it. I had a class, on the train, but I knew I just wanted to do this for them, for them to understand how to change. We had a layover to change train. So I'm trying to rush it so that we don't waste too much time. Like I would make them do this and this. I was there all the way. Their father would, their dad it was a typical African man, was like, you are stressing these children. Like, I did not even know this at this age. But then he started embracing it when people would look at his child and be like, did you know your daughter rescued a pig? She did that. She rescued a pig from children were poking the pig. Like, children were poking the pig, and then she was like, no, you don't do that to him, and that's inhumane. And then she picked up the pig, and then somebody told the father, and that was the turning point for my husband anyway. That's just a bite story anyway, So the idea is just for me to start early, and then I keep seeing the transition. It doesn't happen once. Sometimes they're on something for the rest of the 2 years. The 2 years I would have thought by the second year, we are testing things, we are still learning. But then I will see the transition. So it will come together in different ways, because you are not teaching only one thing with every of the skills you're teaching. So you will not even know when those things are shining out.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'm thinking about, and I'm learning, honestly, as you're speaking, because you're our senior. So
Please don't join on in that.
No, I have to, because honestly, just like you, I decided that I wasn't running anywhere. So this is my 3rd year in level 1. As far as I'm concerned, there's so much.
My partner.
Yes, there is so much in level 1 to even, absorb for us to be running anywhere. Where are we going? So
I went to level 2 and 3, and then I went back to level 1.
See,
I was
honestly,
like, no,
yeah. And so I mean, honestly, I'm hearing and absorbing and kind of relating to everything that you're saying. I love the fact that you mentioned the time frame that it takes, and how, yes, whatever you want your child to learn. Some key things I picked: whatever you want your child to learn or to master by a certain age, obviously you have to have started it. You have to give them that period where you're teaching, where you are watching, where you are testing, before they can now get to the place of actually being, quote unquote, mastering the skill. And another thing, when Noya was asking you about, and basically giving us the testimony of your son and what she saw, and I thought to myself, I said, but she's been here for 5 years, so that means since the kids were 5. I mean, and when they tell us that the earlier you start, in fact, 0 is the best age to start. Oh no, not even 0. Before 0,
yes,
0 says minus.
You should be talking about single
You should be
first.
already, yes, you should already be preparing, because the preparation starts with you, right? To make the best decisions that are going to affect your generation. And I was like, this, honestly, implementation is the key, and we are all still on that journey, and taking it one step at a time. Another thing you mentioned was not overwhelming the kids, because and that is a big thing that I know is challenging for our generation, because we all have these lofty goals and lofty ideas of what we want our children to be, and we are bombarded with so many options of what we should have our children do, of the instruments they should learn, of the classes they should go, of this and that and everything. And sometimes it seems we want it all to happen at one time.
Right.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, to kind of give us that inkling that you have to, just as you are learning things, in progressively, and in stages and in portions, you have to understand, so that the kids don't get overwhelmed and overburdened. So thank you so much for that. So I mean, I know we're getting to that place where we want to start rounding up and, looking at our timeline. What would you say to a parent watching this, who is like stuck in, the hustle and bustle, the worry, almost like survival mode? They're, they can tell that they're stressed, they're not managing their time well, and somehow within them, they don't believe that this change can happen. What would you say to that parent? And it doesn't matter what age their children are.
Okay. For somebody like me who had 2 jobs in Nigeria, although I already said I was delegating, I had 2 jobs. I had my regular job at the hospital, and then I had a part-time lecturing job that I do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And to the glory of God, I was still able to do all of these and more, because I'm really trying to be humble to not say a lot of things the kids, are doing. I would say if I could do it, to be honest, anybody could do it. And this is not it. I don't want this to sound like a cliche. All you need to do is stop. Whoever, as you're listening to me, I just want you to stop. You know, mentally drop everything, your work, your schooling, the kids, drop everything, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I got that a long time ago. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to, whatever it is you can shelve, so that whatever it is you can pause, even if it's in the children life, like if you have 4 or 5 things, they're in music, they're in chess, they're in drumming, they're in basketball, they're in coding, they're in ballet,
soccer,
and then you're constantly on the move. You're constantly, doing something mentally, and you have your life as a wife, as a child to somebody, as friends, as yourself. You have yourself also, and then you're, basically going from, and it's different for people like us that has 1 or 2 kids than for somebody that has 3, 4. And then all this, because they are different personalities, they probably are doing like 3 different things. And then you have to keep driving. Stop. Really, stop. What I would say is find things that would, for the kids now, that could incorporate a lot of things you want them to learn together. For example, the art of cooking. Other than the fact that I learned that if you want your picky eater to eat, you put them onto the art of cooking. During that process of putting them into the art of cooking, I also learned that cooking is a huge thing. Cooking is time management. So if you want to teach your child time management, you don't need a class if you put your child into cooking. Attention to details, cleanliness, a whole lot of planning, there's some things that you don't have to put your child through again if you are putting them through something already. If you, for example, if you put your child through graphic designing, definitely they will have time management. Also, they will have video of something editing. If you can sit down and look at the child's life, what works for the child, for each of your children, try to lump them together. Try to pick 1 or 2 things that is going to give you what you're looking for in that child. And also, you need to schedule a me time. And I am not joking with this. This statement, you really need to put it on your calendar, or maybe Sunday evening. Ask yourself, what am I doing for myself this week? It doesn't have to be you going on a trip, on a shopping. I've learned that me walking solo on my own beside water counts me. Like, I feel rejuvenated afterwards. 2 things really make me feel good. Like Noni mentioned, my exercise. To be honest, I do not see who you are. You cannot intrude into my exercise time. You cannot intrude into my exercise. My husband, my parents, they already know if they call me at that time. If I pick the call at that time, they wonder, wait, is everything okay? Because they expect me, if I should pick that call, to be panting like I'm on exercise. It does well for my brain. So please look for whatever works for you, and do not let anything steal that moment away. The last thing I will say is your ability to say no. Oh God. You say no to a lot of things, even things you feel. Okay, I'm going to say this in difference to Noni. I wish so much to be on the TIP Summit planning committee. I wish so much. Like, I had lots of ideas that I wanted to bring in. Like, okay, can we try this? Can we try that? But I was in that period. Funny enough, if it was now, I would have been able to do it. But 4 or 5 months ago, I was too, into a lot of things than to even think of it. I contemplated, like, okay, should I just go in? And I know that I would not want to be in a space where I would not be able to give my best. I respectively said no. And that's one example. Like, I would say no to a lot of things. Like, people know that my default is no. And and people are going to respect you for it. Don't worry about, having to offend people, step on people's toes. As long as you do it respectively, we're Africans. I'm not just gonna look at you and be like, Noni, you expect me to come and join TIP Summit Planning Committee with all of this on my board? Excuse me, how do you want me to do that? Say it with respect, but say your no. Honestly, you'll be fine. Go back to the drawing board. Stop whatever is making you overwhelmed and write them down. Do a brain dump. Put everything on the paper and start thinking, which one can I take out? Which one can I push to 2026? Because again, there is no emergency in parenting. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. There is no emergency in parenting. I love that. Discipline is not an emergency. And all of us will be all right.
We'll be all right.
That is why I am one person that you would want to. I believe so much in investing in myself, because like you rightly said, you can't give from an empty cup. There must be a time, even while while we are commuting, there must be a time you go into the gas station, you recharge, you have to go to the maintenance to, do your oil change and stuff like that. So you can't empty, you can't function without, recharging. And that's why I would ask, could our summit be a recharge center for some of us? Personally, I see that as a recharge center, and I've actually, put it in my schedule as one of the things I must do for myself, for my parenting. And I would like to actually thank God. This morning, my husband said, let's go. Let's go. Like I heard it from his mouth. So I'm so super excited beyond words, honestly, because this is one thing I said, if there's anything I would ever need, it's for my husband to be in this summit. That's all I want. I don't want more than that. That's my own thank you. And I'm glad I got it this morning. So guys,
Yay!
we are coming.
Congratulations!
Yay! So for this, I would like to ask, what is it? Does this summit sound to you as something that, what would you tell someone who is still talking about, parenting, not having time? Because actually, that's why the team time is there, right? We want to be able to see how we can, you're running your PhD, you're running, your mom stage, your sister stage, and all that, and having to still parent and come out with tangible results. So what would you tell someone who is also struggling with time and seeing this summit as something that he or she really needs as a recharge system for their parenting journey?
No, I'm not going to say for the parenting journey. I will say for themselves.
All right.
Yeah. To be honest, sometimes you keep thinking about my kids, my husband, my kids, my husband, my kids, my husband. Because we are good women, so you keep that has always been the center of everything for us. My husband, my kid, do this for yourself. Do this for yourself. Whoever is listening, do this for yourself. In fact, go there with the mindset of, I just want to go see what other parents there are even saying. I just want to go see, just to relate. Go there with a blank mind. Assume that your mind is a blank sheet of paper that you can actually put something in as you're going. Don't go there for your husband. Don't go there for your children. Go for yourself. Because yes, like Noni said, take it as a recharge take it as that vacation that we all need, that it's always difficult for us to take time away, to get. Go to this summit like you're going on a vacation and enjoy it. There's no way you'll be enjoying it and you still not pick one or two things, but that is not my advice right now. My advice right now is go to recharge at the summit. That's it.
All right.
If out of 365 days, you cannot recharge for a couple of days, come on. We all can. We can. Absolutely. Please. That's it.
Absolutely. and our time is so valuable, you know. I mean, it's said that that's one of the things, if not maybe the only thing, that you really cannot get back,
That's back.
right? That's what you cannot get back.
Yeah.
So it's not a, you know, it's with intention that our topic and our focus for this summit is time, because it's such a valuable resource, is such a valuable um, tool when it comes to not only our parenting, but just as our guest has said today, our life, right? And how we use it. In fact, in TIP, we generally don't even talk about managing time. We talk about
Managing
essentiality.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we talk about managing our energy. So again, I mean, Miss Sunshine has given us so many nuggets, dropping these all over the place. These are the things that, obviously, we've all learned. I mean, these are things that we're familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
and this is basically like a teaser of what you would get from the summit, or what you would hear of the things of the that you will hear about the strategies and the systems that we build to help us walk through this journey, and walk through it and thrive through it and see our children thrive through it, which is one of our major goals. So
Amazing. Okay,
yes.
sorry. Amazing, amazing. So thank you so very much. And I would really say that summit, it's where you will see like minds, whatever stage of life you're in. Are you just coming? Have you been here? Have you been are you still wondering? And you're here thinking, oh, why, how am I going to do it? Is it these people don't understand? Oh, they don't have this, they have that, they have this. I mean, it's in your mind. That's why I love this Kingmaker book. I mean, I don't know if you've gone through the page. I know I and Sunshine, we've been, tackling that book, and we have something in common with that book. And I don't know, but it takes a mindset. You have to have a mindset shift in your parenting journey. And that's why one of the best books, after Connect to Correct, that I've had, in recent times, is that King's Maker book. I love that book because you want to know how Coach Wendy is doing these things. You want to know. When I entered TIP, I know that a lot has happened. I mean, with the organization, I mean, you can see excellence, you can see epitome of discipline, consistency, and everything that you want to have. It takes a mind shift. And when you read the letters of the Kingmaker book, you want to know how she's been doing this, and you want to meet her. You want to be able to interface. You want to meet people like this that are already practicing what it is that we're going to have. That's why that book will be featured in our summit, and we would love that everyone will be able to read that book, not just having that book, read it and be able to reset it, the things that we've been talking about here. Is a mindset, you have to have that mindset. I think that's the primary thing here. And until that mindset is shifted, a lot of things may not really shift with what it is that you are really looking out for. So if you're still wondering, am I here alone? A lot of us have left you. We are moving to MD next week, and we want you to be there. You'll be able to have real connections. You'll be able to see real people. You'll be able to, you'll be able to see where it is that you are in life, and be able to pick one or two things, that you're going to run with for the rest of the next half of the year. We're happy that God has brought us to here. And we're sure with the team that we're coming, the Gov, the Coach Wendy herself, and the group, of course, Coach Ebuka will be there as well. And you want to be there. I don't know. I don't know if you have last words for our listeners, those who are watching us from everywhere, because you don't have to be in the US to actually participate in this program. You can take our virtual pass. If you have relations in the US, it will be honorable for them to also be there physically. But in the absence of that, feel free to register and use the virtual link. Don't miss this experience. It might be that one thing that you've been looking out for. So what are your last words, ladies, before we go, starting with our chief guest here? Mark, please share your last words to those who are watching and still wondering, is this summit really worth your time, and what is it that they have to do for them to get what it is that they need?
I would say there's nothing you can do alone. Okay, let me reframe that. You can, if you want to walk far, walk alone. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, find the right people to work with. Um, this TRP summit might be the right people to work with for a lot of people. It might even be you might even have been in the yard for 2-3 years, but you've really not been, seeing the effects of being in the yard. You might you've probably for what reason or the other have not been fully embedded in the yard. This TIP summit might be the kick you need, might be the push, to be able to walk far with like-minded people. So I would say again, and we all want to walk as parents, we all want to walk far, So I would say, please find your way to TIP Summit and connect. You are going to. There's no way you will not be able to connect with 1 or 2 people, to make the journey easier, smoother. Kind of. It's always a rough journey because, like Coach will say, before you say your child cannot, they are already canning. Even when you think they are already canning. So sometimes a rough ride, and you think, I've been here. My child is not listening. Go connect with people, see that every other person is in the same situation that you are, and let's go from there. Let that be the push that you need.
Thank you. Let that be the push that you need today. And we'll also hear from our co-hosts. This is Bumi. What are your last words?
Yes, thank you. So we're currently attending the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro course. And one of the things that we were reminded of during the course that we were listening to is, look, at the end of the day, you might say, oh, I don't have time to attend this place, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that. Whether or not you like it, you will pay that time at some point or the other. It's better for you to pay it now, because in the future, some of the repercussions, some of the challenges may be too difficult to walk back at that point in time, right? So time is valuable. Now is that time. Make yourself available. We've tried to remove thought of and listened to any restrictions, any excuses that people can make. Oh, there will not be childcare. There will be childcare. Oh, yeah, I'm not able to be physically there because of one thing or the other. We understand that, even though we are encouraging you to be physically there, because honestly, nothing beats being there in person. But if you can't, like we have said, there's a virtual pass. Just go on to our site and you will see more information, towards the end of this. Go onto the site, register. We're closing our registration really soon, because we have to get this done so that we can finish up our preparations ready for everybody. So please go on and register, and we look forward to seeing you there.
And we look forward to seeing you at Maryland, July 12th, in 10 days actually. And we're going to have a very wow experience. It's going to be a memorable experience. Our team of dedicated committee members, we've been toiling night and day to make sure that every one of you have a great experience with your family. We're going to have a hangout a night before with Coach Wendy in a very serene environment with our families, with our children. And the next morning, we have a childcare system where your child will be there while you listen as a parent, recharge yourself, and your child gets recharged as well. Call it a weekend getaway. call it a parenting Shiloh. You won't be wrong. So see you at Maryland. And by next week, hopefully, that should be our last edition on True Talk, True Moms, True Stories. This time around, it's going to be a true father. Watch out. It's going to be fun. All right. So until we meet again, I want us to stay intentional. Stay intentional. And see you next week, same time, until we see physically at Maryland. All right. Thank you. And God bless Coach Wendy. God bless the TIP team. I keep bombarding their private messages. Thank you so much. We do appreciate everyone on the team. And we especially thank our Coach Wendy for her, pouring out on us and, becoming, what we are today. Thank God for her. And we honor and appreciate her. And we really can't wait to see her. I think in the next 48 hours, because she's going to pass through US to get to Canada. So we'll see her again. So thank you, Ma. Thank you, the team. Thank you, our viewers. And see you next week. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Maryland, are you ready? On July 12th, for the first time ever in the US, Coach Wendy Ologe will be hosting the Intentional Parents Summit in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The theme of this groundbreaking summit? Time, the currency of a kingmaker.
So what can you expect? Parenting insights that will completely transform the way you raise your children, a mindset shift to help you maximize time, the greatest asset of a kingmaker, support and encouragement from a thriving community of like-minded parents who are on the same journey, exclusive access, and the unique opportunity to engage with a world-class parenting coach, Africa's #1 and internationally recognized thought leader, and the author of 20 books on parenting.
This is more than a conference. It's going to be amazing and insightful, a life-changing experience. You don't want to miss it. I will be there.
How to register? Click the link below or follow the instructions on the screen to pay your general admission investment of only $130, which includes delicious food, because why not? Great transformation is fueled by good food. If you want to receive VIP treatment for only $200, get all the general admission perks plus priority seating, access to an exclusive VIP mixer with Coach Wendy, and a gift bag that includes a bunch of goodies, including her latest book, The Kingmaker, exclusively autographed just for you.
Can't make it in person? No problem. Just grab the virtual pass for only $30 and join us from anywhere. Click the link below or follow the instructions on your screen to register now before tickets sell out. I will certainly be there. Will you?
I will definitely be there.